folks, it's Patriot Nurse, and in today's segment we're going to talk about the history of gun control, and I have with me James Yeager of Tactical Response, a good friend. Thank you for being here. Yeah, what we want to talk about today, given the recent events, we want to talk about gun control, the history of it, and why it is so very dangerous. And unfortunately, a lot of people are espousing gun control stances, and they don't really understand what it is they're advocating and the long path of innocent deaths behind what they're advocating. James, can you speak a little bit to the history of gun control?
Okay, I'll talk in broad strokes, but gun control basically started with the National Firearms Act in 1934. And what a lot of people don't like put together is that in 1934 that also ended something, prohibition. And so we have all these revenuers, okay, all these ATF agents that are about to become unemployed. And so miraculously there's this other federal law that's passed just to give these guys something to do. So this is kind of like the expansion of government and you know, things like that. The government doesn't lay people off kind of a thing. Now that was the first big thing, and of course that dealt with machine guns and short barrel rifles and stuff like that. And they thought they were putting it into it because they made the $200 tax, okay? Well, you know, paying $15 for a Tommy gun wasn't a big deal in the 30s, but paying a $200 tax to buy the $15 gun, people just didn't do. So it wasn't really up until the 50s and 60s when people started really being able to pay that $200 tax and get machine guns. And so that's when it kind of all rolled around. The next big benchmark in gun control was after the Kennedy assassination. Is the Omnibus Safe Streets Act of 1968. This established FFL holders and things like that. That was the next big, you know, punctuation mark. And since then it's been you know, little bombs, you know, all over the place. But those were the two defining moments in American gun control.
Right. So with the recent events, with the Connecticut shooting, there has been renewed interest and renewed call, certainly from the executive branch, for confiscation of certain types of weapons and bans on various different things. Why is that dangerous? Why is that a problem? Because you would think, based on what you hear on TV, that the guns are the problem and that they are really the source of the evil that we see perpetrated. Why is gun control itself an issue? Why is it so deadly and dangerous?
You know, it's one of the things that boggles my mind, really, because there are two sides, the anti-gun folks and the pro-gun folks. And the pro-gun folks use facts, the Bill of Rights,
logic, reason.
And on the anti side, it's all emotionally based. They're like, well, you know, well, we need to ban high capacity magazines. Well, do you know how fast somebody can reload a gun? And he could have killed a bunch of people with revolvers. And oh yeah, but we got to do something. It's for the kids. And but you know, the facts don't back up what's going on. Right. And so there's just this back and forth. The reason we will never win, nor will they ever win, is that men are from Mars, women are from Venus, kind of a communication barrier that we have, yeah. And it's just not going to happen.
We're speaking two different languages. With everything that has gone on recently, there seems to be at least a renewed call for compromise on the part of gun owners.
I want to hear what you think about that.
I am done compromising. I don't want to compromise. If someone comes to me and says, I want your right arm, I want to cut off your right arm, and I say, no, I am not willing to give up my arm. It is part of me. It is part of my cherished ability to do what I need to do every day, to aid me in defending myself, whatever. It's just part of me. I don't think you should have that right. Well, why don't you compromise? Instead of taking your whole arm, how about just your hand? No, I don't want to give up my hand either. Well, how about just your finger? I'm done compromising on an essential liberty. My right of self-preservation is not up for grabs by anybody, including the government.
As many of you know, the Constitution does not give us our rights. The Constitution recognizes, defines our God-given rights. And among those is the Second Amendment, and they wrote it in such a language. It's absolutely silly, but they wrote it in the most basic language so there could be no misinterpretation, but somehow shall not be infringed, which is used nowhere else in the Constitution,
right.
Is misinterpreted.
Right, and even when you break down that word infringed, what does it bring to your mind? When I think of the word infringed, I think of a sweater, and the very edge of the sweater is hanging this little this thread. And you pull the thread and it starts to unravel.
Oh, like the Weezer song, the Undone Sweater song.
Perhaps. Never thought of it in the context of gun control, but why not? When you think about being infringed, it starts at the very end, chiseling away little bit by little bit by little bit. I'm done having my rights infringed upon. I don't want to compromise anymore, and I'm not going to be compromising with people who are completely unwilling to listen to logic and reason and historical precedent and fact. So I don't see the purpose really in dialoguing with folks anymore who are about, when it comes right down to it, victim disarmament, who are all about taking the ability of a free people, of a self-sufficient people, taking their ability to fight back from whether it's an oppressive government or whether it is the dude in the street who wants to rape me, whatever it is. I'm done compromising, and I'm not giving up my rights. And I will not be turning my guns in.
What what I think is funny is if you look at the Revolutionary War, 9% of the population fought for the United States. 9% of the population fought over a 6% tax rate. That means 91% of the population either did nothing or were loyalists, and the numbers that I've read are somewhere around 50%, actually fought for the British because they thought that's who was going to win, and so they wanted to be on the winning side, and so there you go. So basically 9% of the population of the colonial United States beat the largest military force that had ever been assembled in the history of mankind. A bunch of farmers did that. Yeah. And the reason the shot heard around the world from Lexington was heard around the world wasn't because it was really loud. It's because it set off a chain reaction across the entire world, and kingdoms toppled because of what we did in the United States.
I think a practical lesson that we can learn from regarding this, what happens here, folks, because of the power structure that we are experiencing right now globally, what happens here in the United States sets the tone for the rest of the world. If we as a people allow ourselves to be disarmed, it will not stop just with us. Tyranny will continue to expand, and it will engulf the whole planet. And it won't start with me. I will not be giving up my arms.
We should stop with that.
I think so. All right. Well, I want to thank you guys. I hope it was helpful for y'all. Thank you, James, for being here today.
Guys, remember, your responsibility to be ready for the fight is coming.
For now, it's Patriot Nurse signing off, and we'll see you guys later. Bye. What are you going to talk about?
Whatever you ask me. All right. Open it up. We got to get going if we're going to get going.
Okay.
No, I don't high five. Now fist bump.